I consider myself, a CEO, a business leader, because I'm looking at vision and all that. You're still active in deals and leading the company. So if you had to gauge, what are you?
I'm a salesperson.
How did you learn how to scale?
Always having a vision that to make your systems better and better.
What's your thought on the 2026 real estate market as a whole? Like, rates are creeping down a little bit, and I'll do a follow-up on the 50-year mortgage. So what do you think about both?
2026 is going to be strong for us.
How much of an impact do you think the social media and your social media game, along with your agents, has helped with visibility?
It's definitely helped in all facets of growing the business.
Business hero. Who's your business hero?
My mother.
Welcome to Built to Scale with Anthony Mongeluzo, and I am Anthony Mongeluzo, and I'm here with a longtime friend. And honestly, when I asked him to come on the podcast, it was just because of his incredible marketing, just seeing, how he's growing. And I asked him, I said, how many team members do you have now? And he floored me, over 100. And I've done more real estate transactions with you than anyone in my life, and always a great success. So welcome, Mark McKenna, owner, president, CEO of Pat McKenna Realtors. What do you like to call yourself?
Team leader's fine. Thanks for having me. Team lead's a great title because it's all about leading the team through all these craziness that we have.
So we're called Built to Scale, and before we started doing this, recording at least, you were telling me, I said, when did you grow? I think we did our first real estate transaction probably 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you said you're about 14 team members in 2019?
We kind of always ranged between 10 to 16 agents. Back in 2019, 2020, we had 14. And today we're at 115.
That's incredible. That's Built to Scale. Now, what do you attribute it to? I know culture we talked about, but how do you 5X, right? A business that's 40 plus years old?
48 years old. When we were independent, we were always chasing our tail and never really had time to go out and recruit and attract agents. Once we switched over to the EXP platform, it took a lot of things off our plate. That it allows you to sell more and allows us to build our team. And when I went out and started talking to agents and said, hey, what'd you think? Would you want to come work for us? They were like, we would love to. And I was like, really? Right? And then organically, the business we learned a lot on the recruiting side. And like you said, our social media is really powerful, right?
Oh, it cracks me up. And you know what? No one wants to see an ad, right?
Correct.
But when you're almost doing you have the funny stuff, almost like the meme stuff where you're flying, but I almost feel like a little TMZ. Kind of like when you're talking to the people, like, hey, we're going to do over some real estate. You got the board. You got a little TMZ going.
We like to keep it intense and fun because one of the things in real estate I think people lose sight of, leadership's underrated, right? Everybody's 1099, so they think they can just go wherever. They need leadership and they need accountability because then they just disappear and you don't even know where your staff is, right? So keeping your sales force in check and making sure they're doing things to make them succeed, it works. It helps the culture. They appreciate it. They need it. They really need it. So.
Now, how are you structured internally? So for instance, here, when I was giving you a little tour of the office, I was showing, that we have these blocks of people, cubicles, mm-hmm. and they're a team, right? So, no one wants to call Comcast, right? Or these big companies because you get awful support. So when you call here, you get 7 to 9 people that know you. How do you keep, because obviously in the real estate world, everyone's a bit of a lone wolf, so to speak, mm-hmm. right? Some people form a wolf pack, right? And they'll split commissions. So how do you keep that culture? How do you keep the competition up without making people necessarily jealous or envious? Because everyone wants to sell that home and make that commission.
So everybody has to buy in, number one. We don't our lead flow to our agents is probably the highest in South Jersey. We get between 700 to 800 direct consumer contacts a month for our agents.
That's
right?
insane.
So, but you don't just come in and get onto the account. You got to show us you're buying in, doing the right things. And when we feel you're ready and we see that baseline of your knowledge, then we'll bring you onto the account. And then the calls are recorded. They're graded out on AI. We listen to the calls to make sure people are staying on script, that their close ratio is there. So it's a lot more of a science than it was, let's say, 6-7 years ago. So and the agents love the accountability on that side as well. So they get each month between 10 to 15 direct consumer contacts a month, right? That's 180 leads we put in their lap each year. If they're closing 7 to 9%, they're doing pretty good.
I was gonna say that's a real good deal. And then obviously they got to be out there in the community hustling, bringing in organic leads. And,
Correct. So they can do their SOI leads or center of influence, but we have 2 people who monitor the account. There are ISAs. So any leads that come in off our website, off our Zillow or different platforms that we have, and we hand them out all day long.
So organic leads typically with me, right? So you sold me I like to say you sold me my first real house because I don't count my small condo in Marlton as a real house. But, I'm going through the real estate market and I'm sitting in my basement and I'm just thinking how miserable things were for me because my mom was sick. My mom was in the hospital.
Right.
You remember Lynn did some of those closings, always with power of attorney. So my mom would run really the day-to-day. And I joke, and she won't get mad at this. My wife's a fake realtor. Maybe she should come hang her license with you guys. But she only has really 2 clients, myself and her dad, which does get her some deal flow. And she had to get a medical procedure. So I'm sitting in my basement on a Saturday going, oh man, I'm next man up, right? Never was there a position where I had to run the condos or take calls and I don't want to do this. And I'm thinking of a way out. And I text Mark McKenna on a Saturday, probably around 2:00. I'm like, hey, I even forget the numbers. I got 6 or 7 condos. Do you think you can unload these to a group as a package? Within a week, you had 3 or 4 buyers groups coming out. So is that just from years of experience? I mean, it was great. For me, it was great. I unloaded this. You took the weight off my shoulders that I didn't want to have.
I mean, 48 years in business for the company. I've been there 35 years. Your past client database is strong. People know we eat, sleep, and drink real estate. So, hey, if you got a deal, you got something I'm looking for, and you got to be in tune to what's going on and who's a serious A buyer, who's a B and a C. You got to, rate your buyers on how ready and willing they are. So I always have that list. I call them up. Boom, they're ready to go. And a couple offers you got in. It was great.
It was great. It was quick. I mean, people say real estate's not liquid. I would say we did the whole thing in 45 days. That's pretty, it's not cash.
And when there was 6-7 units that we put together?
Oh, all done. We had one in particular, crazy tenant.
I do remember that tenant.
This lady would complain about everything, wouldn't let people in. And then it turned out she had mold throughout. She didn't even tell us she had mold growing through the whole thing. I mean, she was something special.
She was special, yes, that's a good word.
When we sent the letter that we were transferring, she left my mom and there was a lot of these, the nastiest 5-minute, you're not allowed to sell this property. If you heard the thing, I mean, it was crazy.
What we also do too, when you have 100+ agents, I'll just drop something in Slack and be like, hey, got a great deal. Who's got an investor? We got a package. And I'll get 15, 20 responses.
It's your own social network right in the office.
That. Exactly right.
So obviously we're going to be off script because we know each other so well, but what would you consider yourself, right? So when I got to about 10 years in business, I still thought I was a great tech guy. And if you look around here, there's a lot better than me. So now I consider myself, a CEO, a business leader, because I'm looking at vision and all that. You're still active in deals and leading the company. So if you had to gauge, what are you?
I'm a salesperson. I love to sell, and I love to educate people on how to sell, create passion for the business. I think that's so important. I think one of the reasons that people respond to me because I know exactly what they're going through because I'm still doing it every day. I'm not far removed 8 years from the process. So I think staying in production as a team leader is really important. Plus it allows me to generate a ton of business and I can hand a lot out within the office too. So I think I'll always be a salesperson.
That's where I lean. It's tougher now just with, all the different businesses and operations, but I feel you there. So then let's move on to this. Again, 14 people, over 100 plus. How did you learn how to scale, right? For us, we were the slowest success, right? We were, I had 10 people when I met my wife, and that was in 2010. By 2018, 2017, kind of like you, we a little bigger, we got to 50 people. Now we're like 250. I read books, I had business mentors, I did all these different things, but I had no experience, right? It's the first time doing it. So 5 years, 5x. How? Like HR, finances. How'd you learn all that stuff?
So I think the one thing is always having a vision that to make your systems better and better. And I think our back office is so strong, and I always have the thought process, I have to be overstaffed because I am going to continually grow. Like that's what we always look at. Like, all right, we can't be caught short because we have to present value to our agents. All right, that's what we bring. We always want to bring them value, just like our customer, right? I treat my agents like customers, like always showing value in everything that you do. And then as an individual agent, I was writing 275, 300 transactions with a real small group in the office. So, and the progression was 2020, we did about 400 units. Then we did about 470 and 21. Then we went to 625, and this year will be a little over 1,000. And next year we should probably be at 1,1700.
That much growth. What's your thought on the 2026 real estate market as a whole? Like rates are creeping down a little bit, and I'll do a follow-up on the 50-year mortgage. So what do you think about both?
So I think that it's going to be a pretty strong year. I think there's going to be a little bit more of a selection for buyers. I think we have so much pent-up demand for people who got pushed out of the market, who were tired of getting outbid by 30, 40, 50,000. Oh, yeah. They're all sitting in apartments, saving money, waiting for rates to come down. I think you might see a little bit of growth. You might see another 3 to 5% in growth. If we have that 10% jump to 15, I think that's detrimental to the market.
Yeah.
I think the 50-year is something that is really profitable for the banks.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the difference in the amount of money that the consumer is going to save on average on a house in our area, the consumer might save like $350 a month. Not to minimize $350 a month, but the equity position is going to be pretty minimal.
My thought for the 50-year mortgage is I don't like it, but I've also made a good living off of people renting off me for 20 years. So my only positive thought on the 50-year mortgage, which again I would recommend against, is that some equity is better than no equity, and you could always refinance it. So if you're like when you rent, you get no equity, and then you'll get the tax advantage of the.
There. If you're a disciplined homeowner, it's not a bad product.
Right, and if you prepay it a little bit, you really cut that interest down big time.
The majority of people are not disciplined.
Right.
Now,
90% aren't.
More interesting, I love the fact that they're talking about different things to help the market, right? The portable mortgage.
That thing is pretty cool.
That's something. Now, the portable mortgage is something they've been doing in Europe forever. And if you can take your 2.75% and put it to your new house, I think that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I think logistically, it's probably really tough to do. But again, that's a great tool. That would really help us with inventory, because the majority of the people, I walk in their house like, I really don't want to get rid of my 2.5%.
Right. And so it's like, okay, great. My house is double in value, but the house I'm going to buy is double in value.
Correct.
And now not only is it double in value, I got my home's at 288, right? If I went out and got a 6% mortgage at the same place, my interest is double.
Most people couldn't afford to live in the house they live in now if they had to buy it.
Right.
That's the reality.
Good for equity, good if you want to HELOC, do some things to it. But I think we'll see what happens with those things, but some interesting things.
2026 is going to be strong for us. So I think we're going to see about another 50 to 60% jump in productivity.
Now, one thing we talked about earlier with you, social media, right? I call it social media that sells. How much of an impact do you think the social media and your social media game, along with your agents, has helped with visibility?
It definitely has. It's helped with recruiting agents because they see the culture within the office. It helps the consumer. I was on a listing appointment last night in Mount Laurel. I said, how'd you get my name? She goes, my 21-year-old daughter said,
exactly.
You got to call McKenna. They did some research. They looked at me, and they saw I was top agent. And if you go on ChatGPT and you say who to call in Burlington County, I come up.
Does it really?
It's wonderful.
We're going to do it. I want people to go on your AI platform.
ChatGPT, what realtor in Burlington or Camden County should I call?
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. I had an agent, a seller. I said, how'd you get my name? He goes, ChatGPT. I was like, really?
We just started here with a MSP focused platform, and Veronica and I were talking, And one of the questions she asked was like, hey, how do you make us come up in AI? Right? Because that's part of the game
Correct.
now. I mean, like, think about it. I don't know if it's going to be a verb like Google was or is, but these search engines, they're going to lose market share because no one Googles it anymore. You're either on ChatGPT, Grok, one of the hundreds of platforms thousands of platforms out there.
See who's going to be in the leaderboard. But back to the social media. So it's definitely helped in all facets of growing the business. I mean, it's so important. In my opinion, most of the brokerages out there are flat-footed.
Yep.
Right? They don't have the inside inside videographer. We actually have 2 now. We're hiring an editor, so my videographers can shoot more.
Yep.
So they're not backed up doing editing film. And then having a social media director that helps these agents, that monitors their sites.
Yep.
So because it's important to make sure that they're not putting things on their business site that they shouldn't be. So it's the things that we do to make sure they don't lose business.
It's funny you're saying all this stuff. My brain's kind of going because, like, if you actually think about it, right, the simple days when you were a realtor and I was a home IT, door to door, the stuff you have to think about. You have to become a CFO. You have to become a tax ninja. You have to become a marketing guru. And then I'm sure you got a lot of HR stuff, right? I'm sure you get that fun too.
Well, we don't have an HR department yet, so because we have 8 employees,
right,
and 105 1099 people. So
good for you.
But it will be coming soon, I'm sure.
I most of my friends don't believe me. The 2 things I always say about PCS, is we've grown to almost 40 million. For the whole time, we've basically had 1 full-time salesperson and up to about 150 or so people, no HR. So probably, in any of the business books I read, probably a bad idea. But we're here. We made it.
It worked.
So let's go into some rapid fire.
Okay.
Business hero. Who's your business hero?
My mother.
Your mother, really? First one to say that.
Yeah, she's kind of like, we work side by side since I've been in the business. So yeah, she's definitely.
Is mom involved at all now?
She's still out there a little bit. She's 87.
Oh, wow.
She'll list some houses here. 2 years ago, she was my number 3 agent production. She did like 11 million.
That's insane. How about personal hero? If you have to choose someone different than your mom.
So maybe I should rephrase that. My personal hero is probably my mother.
Okay.
My business hero that I think I'm a big Elon fan.
Yep.
I just love the vision and how he thinks of so far ahead of everybody.
Yep.
And that's how we kind of try and be in the real estate world. Like the things that we're bringing in, like now we have AI for avatars for our agents, the people who can't do well on video, and their clients don't even know that it's AI.
Yep.
And they look so natural. And like people are still trying to figure out what we did 5 years ago in the industry. Now we're that far ahead once again,
Well, it's funny you talk about, I'm going to digress here for a second just to give, the listeners a tip. So Elon's one of your business heroes. On ChatGPT, Grok, your AI platform, you could actually ask it to create a board of directors for you.
Okay.
And have it say, hey, I want Elon Musk. I want Bill Gates, whoever you want, right? And then you could pose questions to your board. Hey, how would you do it? And it basically takes all the information that's publicly available. So you could have a free board of directors from the top people and it doesn't have to be living, right? It's anything they did. So just something to throw out there, which is kind of cool.
Very cool.
What would you say the best business advice you ever received from someone was or is?
I mean, in our world, it's just treat people right, because word of mouth has been our biggest success. Like people know how dialed in we are and how much we care.
Yep.
And things that we've done over, like, I've been in situations where deals fall apart and it's a 4-deal chain reaction.
Right.
I'll buy the first house, right? So everybody's not displaced. Okay, all right.
That's really smart.
And I'll be like, all right, I'm going to buy it. They're like, you're going to what? I'm going to buy it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to sell it again. I go, I can't have everybody displaced.
Right. You're going to, sometimes that makes sense. And you know what? The market, it's always going to go up. I mean, it feels like it at least.
I mean, I could keep it or I could sell it or whatever it may be, but we do things that other people don't do. Now, I've probably done that 15 times in my career.
That's crazy.
And just to make sure, and people are like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, we got it. You know, I had, and because sometimes people try and hold you hostage.
Oh yeah.
And when they have a great deal and they don't understand that I'm saying it's a great deal, I had that happen of Thanksgiving Sunday. I was in the airport. A guy tried to do it. I said, "Don't worry, we'll kill the deal." I bought it, went in, cleaned it up, we sold it. My seller was happy, and we made an extra $50,000.
Yep.
Right.
And no commission.
Yeah. There you go.
How about historic figure? Anyone you get dinner with choice of one person?
I'm a big music guy. I probably would want to go out to dinner with John Lennon.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'd love to hear a lot of things with John Lennon, you know, different personality.
So last rapid fire. What's one thing that people at your office, people in the community would be surprised to learn about you?
I have a DJ booth in my basement.
Do you really?
Yeah, I used to be a DJ in college. I love it.
Yeah.
You hear that, Daryl?
DJ. So then we're going to go back then. What was your first job?
Pizza guy.
You're a pizza guy, delivery.
No, I made pizzas.
You made pizzas?
My brother was in the pizza business. Well, first I started making boxes for $2 an hour.
Oh, my God.
And then I went to dishwasher. And then I was King Kong when I was making pizzas. That was... my kids still love that skill that I have today.
I think I'm the only Italian that probably hasn't made a pizza.
Yeah,
you know,
it was fun.
Good at eating them, but so this has been good. Is there any advice as we close out here that you want to give to that other than come work for Pat McKenna Realtor? Is there any advice that you want to give that young, hungry realtor? Right, like because they're there, right? Like I remember going to events and saying, "Man, I wish I could be the title sponsor." Like we'll never be there. You would see like Ed Hutchinson sponsoring everything, another local leader. And, you know, we've grown and you've grown, but there's people listening right now that like, I want to be Mark McKenna. I want to have 100 people. Maybe not even that. I want to be a success. What would you say to that young realtor?
It's definitely a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes a while to build your book of business. And, you know, you have to be consistent every day and you can't get discouraged because there's been some times in the business where I haven't sold a house in like 4 weeks. And I'm like, I start second guessing myself. Yeah. But you just
like 2009.
Yeah, exactly. I drank a lot of vodka in 2009, that's for sure. But you just have to be consistent and keep grinding away and doing the things, always doing things that are going to be making you money. Prospecting is key. And you have to talk to as many people as you possibly can.
I think that's great advice. And, you know, for everyone watching, I mean, what you'll find from these leaders is, you know, everyone sees the success. Nobody sees the grind. And, you know, that's why we have these conversations. That's why we're doing Built to Scale. So in closing, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you're inspired. I hope you're energized. You know, again, someone I've known for a long time, you know, 3-figure employees and team members, maybe not employees, but 1099s, but they work as such. And this is what we're trying to create here. And this is what we're trying to share here. So this is truly Built to Scale. Thank you so much, Mark McKenna, for coming in, and wish you a lot of success in 2026. And for everyone watching, we'll see you soon and tune back in to Built to Scale.